few days ago, in the General Assembly, dear Master of Ceremonies, I was given 20 minutes. You have given the speakers who went before me, including yourself, something like an hour and 45 minutes. And though princes are not supposed to be democratic, I had the privilege some months ago in Copenhagen, shortly after the caricature affair, to address the Danish Parliament and indeed the Nordic Council of 5 parliaments. And I said to them, in a constitutional system, 3 categories of people are not invited to participate in a democratic process: the mentally challenged, felons, and members of royal families. But today, I feel challenged by the words of Len Swidler. Firstly, I feel humbled by the fact that this decent man traveled with me on an aircraft not knowing that his wife had lost her life. And if we speak of morality and goodness, I, for one, would like to condole him publicly for that great loss, and for his courage in remaining with us in this meeting. He spoke to us today on many points. He spoke of the age of convergence, and I would like to say that the convergence should be to provide opportunity to hear what the silenced majority, the voiceless, the marginalized, the excluded, and the victims have to say. It is not a convergence of those of us who have the facility to travel in jets around the world and talk at each other. He spoke to us of the absence of divergence. And I want to reassure Rabbi Greenberg that I am neither a triumphalist Muslim who believes in monopolizing the truth in the context of Islam. I recognize the significance of the Mahayana and Buddhism, the golden rule of reciprocity, the 10 commandments, the straight path. And as I had the privilege of saying during that call on His Holiness the Pope, when we Jews, Christians, and Muslims presented him with the Bible in Hebrew and Greek and the Quran in Arabic, I said, the time has come, possibly, for us to respect that when we say ethics, morals, and values, each family of man has his or her own interpretation. However, the world clearly needs some new ways of thinking about old problems and new ways of acting. We used to say, think globally and act locally. Today I would say, think and act globally and locally. Let us not imagine that we can survive through narrowness, through particularities. Let us try to be broad, inclusive, interdisciplinary, and systemic. Basically what that means is, whatever you think and whatever you believe, when you come to the table on the 60th of the Declaration of Human Rights, which corresponds more or less with the independence of sovereign states in this region. And I believe that sovereignty is God's and that we share in one God. What is your position unambiguously and unequivocally on standards that relate to civil liberties, that relate to the sanctity of the human being? I look at your faces, I see some of you hateful because you are meeting with the other. And that is not surprising because I have passed through 3 phases of dialogue. I started by learning Hebrew, or attempting to learn Biblical and Mishnaic Hebrew at Oxford in 1965, 64, in the hope that one day I could use it. And I passed through the first fear, the fear of the other. How to meet and greet. Then, over a period of decades, I passed through the second fear, which you're all probably fearful about, those of you who are fearful. How do I explain that I attended this meeting to whoever it is I have to explain it to? My boss or my mentor or my whatever it may be. My conscience, I hope. And then we come to the fear of making a public statement. We started, Len Switler remembers, when I had the privilege of attending, based on my love of Gustur and of your good self, that meeting in Jakarta all those years ago. To speak about promoting not only the noble art of conversation, but also the noble art of listening. We don't have to agree on a scale of 10, but we don't have to disagree to the point of bloodshed. We have to find a civilized framework for disagreement. And we have to find it yesterday in this region of the world. And let me remind you what we're talking about. As I said in the General Assembly, the third world is my first world. The most deprived and dangerous, but also the most diverse and dynamic part of the world. But let me categorize what we are described as. MENA, Middle East and North Africa. WANA, West Asia and North Africa. NAME, not inane yet, but name. North Africa and Near East. Romenaka, how about that? Middle East, North Africa and Central Asia. Isn't it time that we developed an authentic articulation of what we believe we are? Isn't it time that we said for those who claim to speak for us, that speaking for oil and weapons in the name of business, and those powerful corporations who say to people like myself, folks like you are bad for business, that you are not responsible for the livelihood, for the joy and aspirations of future generations of slaves.